Okay, so now this is what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and we need to we're gonna go ahead and connect this up to our table view and get it reading the proper data. This is just dummy data, but let's go ahead and get us reading the proper data. So I have all of our outlets and actions connected, right? One thing let's do is let's do this. We're going to go ahead and here, this should say empty, right? Or actually, we're not going to even have anything here. We're not going to call anything. X and then V. And instead of having that, we're going to say search text field dot text. Okay. Now, when I press the button, it takes what is here. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we know that we don't need to print this out. Okay. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. And we know that this list, the value is set, right? And strong self.list right here. We know the value was set for this. So we have that. So let's do this. We need to we'll go to the bottom. Now, let's talk about reactive programming, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to have a binder, right? That means we're going to set up our view model to one of the properties. One of the properties is actually connected to this controller, specifically to a particular control. In this case, the table view. And when something changes in this property list, then it reloads the table view. Okay. So here's how we set this up. Extension. Jesus Christ. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. That doesn't go here. We should be putting this in the view controller, right? Extension view controller. Okay. Right. And then we have a public function or even a private func. Private func because it will not be used outside of this class. Private func sets up binding. This is data binding, right? Of a function that doesn't return anything, but we'll say view model, right? Dot $ list dot what? Sync. Okay. All right. And sync should be combination. No, that's the wrong one. This should be sync. Jesus Christ. Sync receive value, right? Absolutely. Okay. And list. So in the case that we're populating something else, we want something else to get it, we can have the control and pass it. But right now, we aren't passing the value. We just know that the list value is changing. So what we need to do is we need to do self dot table view dot reload data. Now there are a couple of problems with this, right? One, this cannot run here. It needs to be put on the main queue because you're updating the UI. You're updating this table view. Anytime you update the table view, you have to put on the main queue. You put on main queue by saying dispatch queue dot main. Dispatch queue dot main dot async, right? And this goes there. Okay. Of course, we are dealing with what again? We're dealing with potential strong reference, right? When we do that, we're saying what? Weak self, right? A strong view controller reference, whatever this class is, view controller. But now let's see this. It has to be self, has to be unwrapped. And what this is asking is to do the hard unwrap, or you can chain the optional using this. That means if you do that, if it's nil, it won't crash. It'll just stop. And that's how you chain it. Okay. And there we are. Yes, and list is unused. So what we can do is we can just do this. Okay. So yeah, guess what? We don't need this. Right? We don't need that. And we don't need this, right? Result of sync is unused. Yes, it is unused. Okay. Doesn't matter. What we want to understand, we want something to happen every time sync is changed. Okay? So now that we have that, we need to take sync and put it here. Use it here and use it here, which is simple, right? So let me go ahead and get rid of this. Okay? And we're going to use list here. Okay, so now we're returning this. So we say view model dot list dot count. Right. So, and look, we don't need to do this. Dot list dot. There we go. ViewModel.list.count. And this should, there you go. That's how that works. And again, right here, ViewModel.list. Okay. ViewModel dot list dot index path dot row. Okay, and we have that. Okay, and now we need to call this on viewed load, right? Set up binding. So now this is used. Okay, so now we can go ahead and replace this. Right here, and we'll say OL. So something is not we're not getting that, and we'll see what, let me see what that is. Okay, so I think I have an idea of what went wrong. Right, so I'm going to say combine. I have cancellables here. Right. And I'll say dot store in cancellables. And so now replace right OL. And there we go. Okay. Okay. And that was really it. And I can do this right here so that because basically I'm not setting a value. All I'm doing is reloading when the table view has been reloaded. Reloading when I notice there's a change in the list, right? And that happens every time I do an API call. Right, yes. Right. Okay. And that's how that is working. So, yeah. So I have basically I have two projects. One is complete and one is incomplete. You can go get the incomplete, try this on your own, see where you mess up, see what you understand, what you don't. But if you notice here, there is no, I don't have an array in the view controller. Okay. All of the business logic has been pretty much abstracted away from here, except for some of the table view delegate stuff, right? Of course, in Swift UI, all of it's been abstracted out. But yes, that is your primer on getting an API call using Combine. And now we're on to the next.